small business owner, we tend to go for the least expensive when we're first building web building applications. So GoDaddy, I think they are among like Wix and other places that you can go to build up your first websites. And they're inexpensive. And so they appeal to people like me who are, just building their business and making their first websites, who don't want to go through the whole process of like WordPress. And oh yeah, I've done it that way too, of building out your whole website, but we don't have time. So GoDaddy is a big one that people use. They don't use, I think my issue with them is geared more towards deceptive trade practices and things that they don't tell you, and then charges for things that you didn't buy. So they have a lot of different packages and things that they use words that people don't understand tech will not fully comprehend, and it's not really presented to you in the most forthright manner. So you don't know exactly what you're buying and what that includes. And then it's free trials, and then you have to like click and find your way to the thing that you actually want to buy. That isn't what they're trying to advertise. And a lot of companies do this on their websites. They hide, what you actually want behind a lot of other stuff that you could possibly click on and accidentally buy. You just have to be aware. And so I finally find what I need and I click on it and I think everything is going to be fine. But somewhere I miss that they're going to charge me an extra like $200 for something else that I did not want. And the charge goes through the next day. And I'm wondering what that's about. Like, why are you guys charging me $200? I thought that I purchased this package. There's this extra charge that magically showed up. So I contacted, they have their chat IT, which I don't recommend, but I do know how to get around it. I figured it out. So they outsource their IT and their customer service to, I believe, India, but I'm not sure. I haven't researched it, but forgive my cultural, assumption, but from what it sounded like, it sounds like that area. And so they train, and I got this out of a war of attrition. What I have an issue with is that they aren't clear with what you're going to be charged with and what does this starter bundle blah 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 mean. They never define what it is, and so I don't buy those things, but then they charge you for them. It's so strange. It's just a very strange setup. And then you contact IT, and it's a circular process. You'll state what your issue is, and it'll be a simple thing, and they'll argue with you about it or try to get you to engage in distractions, and the conversation will diverge so many different places and not make sense. And essentially what it does is it doesn't address your concern or your question. It doesn't get answered, and it wastes a lot of your time. And then they upsell you, and they will lie to you and say things that aren't true. And you're like, I just got this email, and that didn't happen. And then also, I pulled up the refund. I was asking for a refund of this like charge that I didn't want. And I pulled up their policies. And so I have their policies right there. And it says, if you do anything over IT, you can't get a refund. It's null and void. If you cancel anything, it's null and void and you cannot get a refund. So I have this thing in front of me saying all of their policies, and I tell the person I'm talking to, no. He says, okay, go ahead and delete this. And I'm like, no. If I delete it, I have your policy right here. It says I don't get a refund. And actually just talking to you, I don't get a refund. So I don't understand what's going on. And so he's, trying to press me to cancel, blah, 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 delete this, do. And this, I was curious about what the end game was and like how far this would actually go and how much they would try to distract and what they would use. So I was like, this is a waste of my time, but it isn't. So I was on chat with them from approximately 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Not a joke. With them trying to convince me to do things that would violate the refund policy and them trying to talk me into doing things, I don't know, and denying it. And then telling me that they couldn't do something because of the code. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by the code? Like, what code? Tell me about your code. And I learned programming, more back-end stuff. They deal with front-end stuff. But then, I start asking specific questions, coding questions, and they're not prepared for that. And so then they turn it around. And I'm like, eventually, I was just like, okay, I'm just doing this because I see now that this is a war of attrition. You're going to try to wear me down and never give me a refund. I see the game you're playing. Like, okay. And eventually, I have all these transcripts too. You can print them out. Eventually I say, look, I'm sorry. I understand that you're instructed to do this, and that you probably get bonuses or some type of reward for not giving a customer a refund and upselling them. And that's not fair to you. So I'm sorry that you're placed under these constraints. And he admitted it. This poor gentleman is like, yeah, we are under instruction to follow these particular policies. And we're, so essentially I tired him out. And he admitted to me that, yeah, they're under instruction to do this kind of thing. So that's interesting for GoDaddy to do. I thanked him. I was like, thank you for your time. I'm sorry that you have to do this all day. I'm sorry that, our companies think that that's okay to do to people in other countries. And, it's okay. I'll take the product. Just please put it under the correct domain name. I don't want you to get doxxed for that. So we're done here. I understand how GoDaddy works. And so we're done here. So it's fine. I'll take the product. I have a cute website, but I don't think that's a very ethical way to conduct business. But I know how to get around it. What you do is you type in your question, or type in your ask, and you're polite, and then they'll start to try to engage you. And then you say, this is exactly what I need. This is the question that I need answered, and this is what I want to happen. I am now walking away from the computer, and when I come back later, I expect this to be done. And then actually go walk away from the computer. And lo and behold, when you come back, it's done. And they do extra.